Subscription broadcaster Foxtel has not had an easy run of it in recent times. Despite being one of the most revolutionary players in the market in the mid-2000s with the launch of the IQ boxes, the onset of Netflix and a host of other streamers has led to somewhat of an existential crisis about the relevance of the platform. However, CEO Patrick Delany has sought to manage debt and relaunch Foxtel as its own streaming force to be reckoned with in Australia, with the hugely successful Kayo sports streamer and aggregation deals with rivals like Netflix and ABC iView. I caught up with him this week at the Future of Television Advertising Conference in Sydney.
Foxtel has been a company that has battled its whole life to make sure it is relevant and make sure it can deliver innovation and follow consumers. I mean, we didn't make any money until, I think, 1997. And in terms of breakthroughs, you're right, the IQ2 was a breakthrough, but we've always had to battle. And I think the breakthrough was making sure that we could deliver the innovation of being able to record, which in those days was probably the closest you could get to on-demand, and then continue to deliver content, which was very different to other places. But the other secret's always been aggregation. So it's interesting, the name of this conference is about the future, and it's also about attention. I think the Australian television industry has always leant forward, Foxtel has always leant forward into the future, and there's no doubt about it that innovation is part of that. Attention has always been a really big issue, and it's part of Foxtel's life the whole way through. To go from 3 free-to-air channels to 20 channels gave fabulous choice, and it wasn't a problem. Everyone wanted lots of choice. When we got to 100 channels, it was a great marketing claim, but you do get the situation where you go, well, there's a lot on, but what am I going to watch? You also get another feature, and that is the more consumers get of choice, the more discerning they become of that choice and wanting to fine it down. And I think that's the stage that we've got to, where there is overwhelming choice, whether it's on the Foxtel platform or other platforms. So in terms of relevance, Foxtel still is Australia's biggest media company, turning over $3 billion. We have 2,600 Australian employees. We also have others around the world. But it is a very, very big company, and it continues to have huge relevance. The thing that has changed about Foxtel very much in the last 18 months is a massive shift towards video on demand and streaming. And while we still see a large proportion of our viewership in live channels, we will, by the end of this financial year, have 60% of our subscribers on IQ3s and 4s, which are streaming machines. So on those, we still are an aggregator. We aggregate all of our own streaming. So we have really worked hard in the last 18 months to pick up full stacks and seasons of all of the things you see on the channels, but our own premium things, like HBO. We can still, so you can stream, you can record, and now we're aggregating others. So I think it was a shock to most people we did Netflix. It shouldn't have been. We should have done it 5 years ago. If our position in the market is to aggregate, then what's the difference between aggregating a channel, aggregating VOD that we buy, or aggregating other people's services? And the key to it and the relevance of Foxtel is to make sure that we keep it simple. If you've looked at an IQ3 or 4, they work flawlessly and they put everything in one place. But that's just one part of the Foxtel Group story, because we have not just stuck in the set-top box.
All right, I do want to ask you more about the aggregation strategy, but Kayo, your own streaming service, which was launched not much more than a year ago, has done extremely well, although recently, for the first time, people reporting numbers have gone back in the latest News Corp results slightly. Let's talk about some of that churn in Kayo and I suppose that issue of competing with yourself there. Does it cannibalise Foxtel users?
So one of the things as a Foxtel executive and a News Corp executive, you know that everyone's going to take a bit of a different view of you and your company than anyone else. So can we just take a big breath, and I'm going to give you my version of Kayo. Kayo is the most successful media business to have been launched in Australia in the last 25 years, including Foxtel, if it's owned by Australians, right? Now, Netflix is pretty good, but to have 400,000 paying customers for sports alone at a premium price of $25 with no tricks, no bells, no whistles is one hell of an achievement. It is a big business already, and it has grown very, very well. So I'll go back to your framing. You know, has it faltered? No, it hasn't. It's a sports business. In Australia, there are 5 big sports. 4 of them end at the end of September. They start tailing off and we go into one sport, which is cricket. So Kayo's number on a pure paid basis will never be bigger at the end of December than it is at the end of September. And at the end of December, the cricket has only just started. Now, it is a sports streaming service. We at News Corp are very harsh on the number. We just say a paid number. Have you noticed most streaming services up to now haven't even called out whether they're paid, and only recently they've started with the word active, which sort of probably means, I assume, because it's not defined, that it's somehow a subscriber that has the app, might not be paying, might be paying. You see that even in the Australian services. So our paid number is a pure paid number. It probably is very unfair. That's a Foxtel type number that you should anchor when you have hardware and you have contracts, because once someone goes, they're probably not coming back. The streaming world's not like that.